All right, let's get into it. We're about to tackle one of the most critical, and honestly one of the most complex parts of any streaming service: security. We're going to peel back all the layers on how premium content stays protected, all the way from the studio to the moment it actually hits your screen.
And just so you know where we are, this is the fifth part in our ongoing series breaking down this incredible technical report from Virtualization Options LLC. Today, we're diving deep into Chapter 8, which is all about security and digital rights management.
You know, this quote from the report really nails it. It sets the stage perfectly. Because this whole thing, it's not just a tech problem to solve. It's a fundamental business requirement. The entire economic model of streaming movies and shows, well, it all hinges on being able to protect that content. That demand is the engine that drives every single piece of technology we're about to talk about.
So let's start with Layer 1, the absolute core of the defense: digital rights management, or as we all know it, DRM. This is the bedrock. Everything else we talk about today is built right on top of this foundation.
So what is DRM, really? Let's get a super clear definition. It's not just about locking a file, it's a whole system. First, it encrypts the actual video, but, and this is the most important part, it also manages who gets the keys to unlock it and exactly what they're allowed to do with it. It's all about controlling those keys.
The whole process is basically a three-part handshake. First, the content itself gets scrambled with some seriously strong encryption, usually AES. Then your device, your phone, your TV, has to connect to a license server and prove it has permission to play the content. Only then does it get the decryption key. And finally, the unlocking and the actual playback all happen inside a special, secure little bubble on the device itself.
But of course, it couldn't be simple, right? It's not like there's one DRM to rule them all. The market is split between three huge players: Google's Widevine, Microsoft's PlayReady, and Apple's FairPlay. So if you're an IT pro building a service, you can't just pick one, you have to support all of them. That's why multi-DRM is the name of the game.
And even within DRM, there are levels. Level 1, or hardware security, is the gold standard. The whole decryption thing happens inside a protected chip on the device, a secure enclave. Think of it like a tiny lockdown vault inside the main processor. This is what the studios demand for 4K and HDR content. Then you have Level 3, which is all software-based. It's not as secure, but it lets you support older or cheaper devices that don't have that special hardware. It's a constant balancing act between maximum security and maximum device reach.
So for all the IT folks watching, this slide is your daily reality. DRM is not a set it and forget it kind of deal. If your license server hiccups, guess what? Nobody watches anything. Every time someone presses play, that license request adds a tiny delay. You've got to manage key rotation, figure out offline viewing. I mean, these are the real-world headaches that keep streaming engineers up at night.
Okay, so we've encrypted the file with some heavy-duty DRM. We're done, right? Problem solved? Well, not so fast. Is just locking down the file really enough to secure the whole shebang?
The answer is a definite no. And that brings us to Layer 2, securing the pipeline itself. See, it's not enough to protect the package. You have to protect its entire journey, from your servers all the way to the user's screen.
And these are the tools we use for that job. Standard stuff, but absolutely critical. We use HTTPS to encrypt everything as it travels. We lock down our APIs with authentication tokens, like JWTs. And we use things like signed URLs or CDN tokens. This is what stops someone from just grabbing the link to a video chunk and posting it somewhere else. It's all about making sure only the right person can even ask for the content in the first place.
Okay, so we've locked the file and we've secured the delivery pipeline, but let's be realistic. What happens if a really smart, really determined pirate finds a way through both of those layers? What's our last line of defense?
Well, that takes us to Layer 3, tracing the leaks. At this point, our strategy shifts from preventing the crime to figuring out who did it, and the tool for that job is forensic watermarking.
Now, the key thing to understand about watermarking is that it's not designed to stop piracy. Its job is to figure out where the leak came from after the fact. It works by embedding a unique, completely invisible signature into every single video stream that goes out to every single user. It's like a digital fingerprint.
And here's the life cycle. First, as you're watching, the system embeds that unique mark with info like your user ID. Then, automated bots are just constantly crawling the internet looking for illegal copies. When they find one, they analyze it, pull out that invisible watermark, and boom, they know the exact account that leaked the content.
But man, this is such a delicate balancing act. The watermark has to be tough enough to survive pirates trying to recompress or filter it out,
But if you make it too strong, it can actually create little visual glitches in the video, which ruins the experience for paying customers. It is a constant, high-stakes, technological tug-of-war.
So let's put it all together. You've got DRM, you've got transport security, and you've got watermarking. Not a single one of them is a silver bullet. The goal isn't really to make piracy impossible. That's a fool's errand. The real goal is to layer all these defenses to make big commercial piracy operations so difficult, so risky, and so expensive that it's just not worth their time. You make it economically unattractive.
And that really leaves us with this one big lingering question, doesn't it? In this never-ending cat-and-mouse game between services and pirates, is it even possible to have perfect security that also feels completely seamless and frictionless for the rest of us? Can those two things, total protection and a perfect user experience, ever truly coexist? That's the central challenge that's going to define the future of this entire field.